We run a service called CPM, and we help advertisers buy display media much more efficiently than they could if they were trying to work with ad exchanges, ad networks, or publishers directly. So we give them a lot of options to be able to buy media, optimize their campaigns, optimize their creatives as rapidly as possible.
Cool. So why is it better than, say, working through an exchange? What value do you add?
Well, the analog I use is, if you're looking to buy stock on the stock exchange, for example, it's not quite the same thing, but you go to a Charles Schwab or an Ameritrade, you don't try to go to the exchange itself. Those environments are typically built for people who are doing things at scale in kind of a wholesale type manner. So we really simplify the process a lot for advertisers. For advertisers, it's like might be for them looking like the cockpit of a 747 getting into an ad exchange, whereas we want to make it very simple and focused on their goals and reaching those goals.
So you're totally leveraging the power of the exchanges.
Totally.
You're just an in-between to make it easier for them.
Exactly. The exchanges have a lot of features that we know all the people who, some of our investors are the people who started, for example, the Right Media Exchange. So we understand these systems very well, and we also know that a lot of the features that these guys have built are not broadly utilized even by the people who are fairly sophisticated on the exchanges. So the goal for us is to be able to leverage the data, the different features, the setup on these systems to drive the best results possible.
So let's say I'm a small advertiser. I'm spending $5,000 to $10,000, $15,000 a month, and I could either go to the exchange or work through you. If I work through you, my ads will work better, my ROI will be better, etc.
Yeah.
But the offset is you charge. So how does that work?
Well, we believe that we can kind of really quantify this too, that there's probably a 40 to 50% lift right off the bat by setting campaigns up correctly. It's kind of the analog in search marketing is if you set up your ad groups correctly, it allows you to do keyword targeted, better keyword targeted buying, etc. We find some of the same effects in the display landscape. So you set your campaigns up correctly, and a lot of what we also focus on is making the most out of the data that's being generated by the campaigns as the campaigns are running. So we, for example, will pixel users, every ad that gets shown, we basically can retarget a user who's seen ad 1 versus ad 2, person who's clicked on ad 2 versus ad 3, etc. So we can really build some very sophisticated waterfall type models of response and frequency.
Kind of A/B.
Yeah, A through N type testing, yes. So we do a lot of multivariate testing, factorial, full factorial, fractional factorial testing. And also we always keep in mind that part of how this stuff works the best is if you have a partner who knows and has bought billions of impressions and understands what publishers work well, which ones work less well, can kind of bring a lot of that knowledge to bear without having some of the conflicts of interest that an ad network might. A lot of ad networks, they have to keep publishers and advertisers happy, so it's hard to keep two sets of people with somewhat separate interests satisfied.
So are your fees volume related, or how do they work?
The way we charge is on a percentage of spend basis. We also will work with advertisers specifically on a CPA basis if we believe that we can, if for example they have a certain risk tolerance that they want to only run on a CPA and we feel like we can do really well with that CPA specifically. That's one other option, but typically what we're doing is we're beating people's CPA goals, optimizing to those metrics, running on a CPM, because running on a CPM you can get access to the best inventory. What you want to make sure, though, as someone who's bought millions of dollars of media a month myself, as a media buyer, I would always be very, very conscious of not overpaying, leveraging any source of information I can about the market price of the inventory. So
it's pretty easy then. If I come in myself and the best deal I can get for the inventory I want is $4, and I can get it from you, including your commission, for less than that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, there's two factors. One is we encourage people to do their own, advertisers to do their own deals with specific publishers. For us to work with a mid-sized or small publisher, it's not really going to make sense, but might be a niche publisher that works really well for you as an advertiser. We encourage people to work with them, and we also provide them ways they can do ad serving through us. They can use our platform to take their image files or their flash files and serve them through our server, and we can also apply some of the same optimization techniques. We don't have to control the inventory per se, but we can also then take some of the data that's being generated from those campaigns and apply it to campaigns we might run for them as retargeting or behavioral targeting campaigns elsewhere. So we definitely encourage people to work with us and kind of explore ways we can help make their existing campaigns better as well, in addition to exploring new places where they can find conversions.
So is it pretty easy in terms of the fee you're charging is pretty small compared, or is it, is it something they think is the reason people don't do business with you because they don't know about you, or because of sticker shock?
No, I mean, I think most, we to date haven't done very, very much outbound sales and marketing. Most of what's happened has been people coming to us. We've really been focused on building the technology for the last 2 years. We're only now starting to, through participating through events like LeadsCon and others, we're starting to really get the word out about what we're doing. We have a lot of clients that are very happy with what we've been doing for them, and they're, continuing to buy and spend more money. And so we're also looking for other opportunities to, spread the word and get things out there. So we don't really feel like people initially may say, well, why do I have to pay you guys something extra? But as soon as they realize and they see the value that we're offering, they're very happy. I mean, one other example is that, if you compare us to a traditional ad agency, for example, the ad agency is going to mark up a lot of costs. Like, you want to buy data, they're going to mark it up. We don't mark up data. They're going to mark up ad serving, charge someone a 10-cent ad serving fee. We're going to charge you 3 cents or 2 cents if you want to just do ad serving by itself on a CPM basis. And then if they look at comparing our fees to an ad network is typically going to charge someone, mark up the media 40 to 50% because they have to keep the publishers happy and they have to make a decent margin themselves. We're doing much higher volumes at a much lower margin, more in the range of 20%.
Okay, that's cool. So what are the challenges for growth?
I think the challenges are, the biggest challenge I see is that having advertisers who are ready and able to have some level of commitment to making display work. Unlike search, where search is really about honing in on the keywords and the things that signify intent for your business, and then kind of optimizing but building outward, kind of continually growing from that base that you find. Whereas display is a little different, where you have to test a little more broadly, you have to try more things, you have to do more testing. And so the challenge is getting people who are ready to do that level of testing and to are committed to understanding things. One example is just creatives. Someone will try to start a campaign and they'll have 3 different concepts to try in each of several sizes. Often if someone has 10 or 15 concepts, it might be a lot easier to get to find stuff that has meaningful uptick. So that's one of the challenges.
You need also volume. The other thing is they have to commit a little bit of budget, right? Because you got to run a certain number of impressions through to get any kind of statistical significance.
Exactly. The statistical issue is one that definitely comes up. The other thing that I think is important, especially for folks in the lead generation space, is also working closely with folks like us to make sure that we can tie back to the final conversion metrics and lead quality metrics and so on, and tie that back to the media source. The issue you sometimes see is people are working with 4 different vendors and they're optimizing the creative separately from the landing pages, separately from the media. We're really trying to work with folks where we can tie those bits of data together more cleanly for them and really optimize on the metrics that are most relevant to their business. If the idea is a CPA of $5 or $10 or whatever for a lead, may be fine, but if that doesn't correlate to the actual revenue they get from converting those leads, there's a disconnect there. So we're working to try, really work closely with them to, make those connections much more apparent.
So you're